Hello and welcome everybody to the 407 and Beyond podcast. This is episode 24, and in this week's episode, we actually get to bring you good news. And before I introduce today's guest on the podcast, the 407 and Beyond podcast that brings you all Disney and Universal vacation news is sponsored by our travel agency, 407 and Beyond Vacation Co. Disney and Universal experts who help plan your family's perfect vacation. So all you have to do is show up, have fun, and create family memories. As always, our services are free to you. Visit us on the web at www.407vacations.com. And to stay up on all of Disney and Universal vacation news, whether it be new attractions coming, new restaurants, operating hours, and to see what's open and what's closed during the current climate, visit our blog page at 407vacations.com/travel blog. So today's guest is someone who is a regular on the podcast and writes articles for our travel blog. It is none other than Hannah Beal. Hannah, thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
It's
Glad
good.
to be here.
It's good to have you. Is anything new with you? Have you seen the new Mulan trailer that just released?
I have not seen the trailer yet, and I definitely think I need to watch it because I know the release is coming up, and I need to get myself back into it. I feel like I was so excited for it back in March when it was just about to hit the theaters, and now I feel like I've lost some of my steam for it.
So I kind of addressed it in episode 23 last week of the podcast, but let me ask you: do you plan on spending the $30 to rent or own Mulan until it becomes available on Disney Plus?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I think part of that excitement fizzling out is making me lean more towards maybe just waiting until it's released onto Disney Plus because I feel like I already have Disney Plus. So why why not just wait until it comes on there? But I also, I do want to support Disney, and since they can't release the movie in the theaters, I get why they're charging the extra money, and it's cheaper than going to the theaters. So we'll have to kind of see what happens, but
Yeah, I totally agree. It's cheaper than going to the theaters. I get it. It makes sense. I'm actually kind of hoping that we kind of see this shift in movie releases, that this is actually one of the options is to rent it or buy it at home. For $30, it's the same price for us for a party of two to go to the movie theater. And I know this is going to seem a little blasphemous, but I actually like watching it at home better than the theater. So I'm actually kind of hoping this is a kind of a new thing that is going to happen with more movies than just Mulan. But it is just kind of seems odd or different to do this as opposed to it just releasing on Disney Plus. But it makes sense. But
it does. And I could definitely see, because they released Artemis Fowl directly onto Disney Plus.
Right.
You don't have to pay for that one.
And that was so bad they could release that directly to VHS.
not even worth streaming it.
Was that too far?
No, it was as someone who's a big fan of the books, I will be honest, I was so excited for it. I talked about it on the podcast. I was like, this movie's going to be so great. And I'm going to be completely honest, I haven't been able to bring myself to finish it because I am such a huge fan of the books, and they just made some creative choices that I was not thrilled with. So.
It was a little difficult to get through. Not gonna lie. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. This is a positive episode with actually positive vacation news. So I'll change the subject. Let's talk about though the operating hours over at Disneyland or Disney World, excuse me. So just recently, Disney World did announce that the operating hours at the parks were going to change a little bit. And actually, they are taking 1 hour a day at the back end of the day off of the schedule. So the park hours are actually being shortened by an hour. So Hannah, from what I'm seeing, the park hours will change starting on September 8th, so about a month from now. Magic Kingdom, will be open from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Epcot from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., which Epcot was a little interesting because usually that park closes at 9, and they did shorten Epcot's World Showcase hours from 9 o'clock to 7 o'clock, keeping Future World hours until 8. But as of recently, the DisneyWorld.com schedule has everything at Epcot closing at 7 p.m. now. Hollywood Studios is open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Animal Kingdom 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So Hannah, what do you make of the changes in park hours? I'm imagining it's just for another additional health and safety measures, additional time to clean and get guests out of the parks. But as for the park going experience, I don't think a 1 hour difference actually changes it for families, especially during the current theme park experience. But I started that rant before I said, Hannah, what do you think of it? So tell us what you think.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I think that they're probably doing measures because going into the fall, it's going to start getting darker earlier. So I think part of it could come from needing the additional cleaning time because of COVID. They still want to get their employees probably out of there before it's pitch black and dark. So that way, this gives like a little bit of extra daylight time to complete those cleanings and safety things for the staff as well. And I think that you're right. I feel like the park numbers have been lower recently, which is understandable with everything going on. And so I think that shortening the time that the parks are open isn't going to make a huge difference as far as park goer experiences. If you had a lot longer lines to be waiting in and it was really packed, it might make a difference having that extra hour. But I
Right.
think that with limited crowds and the limited capacities in the parks, I don't think that extra hour is going to make a huge impact on people's vacations. Everyone's, I think, still going to get to experience everything that they want to.
Yeah, I totally agree, and especially since there are no fireworks shows or parades,
Mm-hmm.
the park closing an hour earlier, I just don't really think really truly affects the theme park experience. And if it does help with their cleaning or whatever it is, whatever reason they decided to cut off park hours an hour earlier, I'm okay with it. I think it makes sense, and it doesn't. Again, if the parks are open until 7 p.m. You still have all day. So
Yeah, that's still 9 hours. I mean,
right,
plenty of time to get through and see everything. And like
right,
you said, no fireworks and no like nighttime parades. So people
right.
probably don't need to stay as late anyways because those things aren't available yet.
Yeah,
Hopefully soon, but
yeah, yeah. I don't think it's that big a deal. I haven't really heard a whole lot of chatter on the interwebs or social media, complaining about this. So, the theme park experience right now, particularly at Disney, is modified, and I think guests know that before going on their vacations. Anyways, park hours are closing 1 hour earlier. So, all right, let's talk about some exciting news over at Epcot. So, Hannah, we know that Epcot is receiving, a full-scale reimagineering, renovating lots of attractions and lands. But one of the more iconic front of the park features are these pylons from the early 80s when the parks opened, and kind of going back to the roots of Epcot and the original iconography. Oh, I'm not even going to say it, Hannah. Geez, the original park icons. And so the recent, I'll bring it up here, Hannah. The recent pylons were released by Disney Imagineer Zach Ridley, and I have it up on the screen right now to your left. And so, Hannah, what do you think of the new look of the pylons and the logo? And tell us what you think of them, and then I'll read the Instagram post where Zach Ridley, the Imagineer, kind of released the images of this.
yeah, I think that they look absolutely beautiful. I love that they kind of threw back to that like logo from the 80s, that original logo, kind of tying in the history of the park because, a lot of people who are going to Disney didn't go to Disney then. A lot of them weren't born yet. So I think it's cool to kind of keep tying in that history and see some of that previous stuff. And I'd love to see them incorporate more of that throughout like the entire reimagineering of Epcot, just kind of throwing back to what has been and then looking forward to what's coming.
Right. Here's the exact Instagram post from Zach. He says, I'm excited to share our first look at the pylons we installed last night as we continue to reimagine the Epcot main entrance fountain, which has anchored this area since the park opened in 1982. Our design team took special interest in looking back to the original geometry for inspiration and infusing new features with a little bit of added magic to bridge the past, present, and future at Epcot. He goes on to say, one thing about the pylons is that as you look, it forces you to look up into the sky, and kind of getting that view of Spaceship Earth. And then at night, that photo, you can just see the reflection of Spaceship Earth in these pylons. So I'm excited to see them. I think this is great. And going back to that, mix between education and entertainment at Epcot, I think we have a lot to look forward to with the Reimagineering.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to see. Hopefully, he continues to release some pretty cool photos as more of the Reimagineering takes place.
Right, and I should also say that Spaceship Earth was expected to be down for refurbishment and reimagineering. They had released at the expo that this attraction was going to get a whole new makeover about the communication throughout time and focusing on storytelling. But that reimagineering has actually been either delayed or canceled, and so Spaceship Earth is open in its current form, and I am guessing that we can expect for it to remain open in its current form for quite a while. So anyways.
Hopefully they don't completely cancel that Reimagineering though, because I was really excited to see what they were going to do with that. I'm a speech therapist, and so seeing communication through the ages is kind of right in my wheelhouse. So I was really pumped for it. Fingers are crossed that they keep it on the back burner for now.
I do hope. I think you're right. I feel the same way. I do hope that they still have plans to do that in the future. But with as much money as Disney is losing right now, I think some projects are going to get the axe, and this could be one of them. So I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see. So. All right, so speaking of things that are down for refurbishment, the People Mover over at Tomorrowland in Magic Kingdom has been down. Guests have been taking photos, posting it on their social media pages that the attraction has been down. But we did get word that it is part of the refurbishment list and that it will be down for the next 2.5 months. So. So the video that's playing now is the view of the castle from before its recent paint job over riding the People Mover. Hannah, what are your thoughts? Where does this attraction rate for you for attractions over at the Magic Kingdom? Do you enjoy this? And it does say that the attraction is getting new tracks, so it should be smooth, and it should break down a lot less often after this.
Yes, yeah, they're laying some new tracks, so I think that it'll be really cool to kind of see what they do with it. This one is not super high on my list personally. There's a lot of ones that I would go to before the People Mover for me. But I think it'll be really interesting to see kind of the way that they refurbish it. I know that since the parks reopened, they did not reopen this at all. So I don't know if it's always kind of been under refurbishment and they just now put it on the list, or if
that's a good point.
They're kind of looking to maybe also make some more distancing measures as they're doing the refurbishment to then reopen it following some of the COVID standards. So
this attraction did have a tendency to break down, and so I think that this is a good attraction to replace the tracks and have this thing running smoothly, because it does eat up quite a lot of guests. The attraction houses a lot of people on the train cars. And personally, Hannah, this is one of my favorite attractions at the Magic Kingdom. But I'm sorry to see it down, but I'm actually really looking forward to it being operational and getting new tracks and everything else. So, all right, Hannah, let's talk about what happened the other day over at Rise of the Resistance. So, kind of a crazy story coming out of Disney's Hollywood Studios that a lightning storm transpired and struck Rise of the Resistance. So, what do we have? Do we have any details on this?
Well, I mean, it's currently speculation, but I think that Emperor Palpatine is behind the lightning strike.
Very, very well could be. That's going to be episode 10.
It's exactly, he doesn't want the resistance to rise, force lightning, boom, knocks it down for a few hours, but it rises back up as hope always does, like the sun. So there was a mountain in Galaxy's Edge that was struck by a very large bolt of lightning in a storm on Monday night. And following that, the ride was down. Exciting news is it is finally back up and running, but it was down for Tuesday. So guests who had put in their reservations were not able to ride it then, which would be a huge bummer because, as I've said before, that would be top of my list at the park. So to show up and then find out that it's down would be a big disappointment. I'm glad they got it up and running again. But
Right, and Hannah, I have the photo here between us. Excuse me. The picture was originally tweeted by Austin Kopic, and this is a screenshot from the video that he posted, and that was covered by ABC News. And that lightning bolt looks vicious. I
oh
mean,
my gosh,
that looks really intense. So I'm
I can't
glad.
imagine what it was like being there and
Yeah,
seeing it. Like, it's a massive lightning bolt, and it, like you said, it looks vicious. And I'm glad that they were able to get the ride up and running again, and that no one was hurt.
right. Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. I'm glad no one was hurt. I do know that Disney has kind of like lightning reciprocals or rods to kind of absorb the lightning strikes that happen, currently or often in Florida. But just to see that in person would have been incredibly intense. So
Yeah.
I haven't heard that joke yet that it could be Palpatine, but looking at the size of that and it just striking how loud it was, I I wouldn't be surprised. So
Yes, yeah. Definitely check out the video because
yeah,
it is just an insane sight to see.
it is. All right, let's move over and talk about what is opening and closing over at Epcot's World Showcase. We'll go back to Epcot. So just earlier this week, the Tangerine Cafe over at the Morocco Pavilion is closed. That is operated by a third party. And they have decided to temporarily close down its operations. And so I think that kind of the main story out of this is that there are restaurants, table service and quick service, that are temporarily shutting down. So the 5 quick service restaurants that you will see open right now at Epcot is Katsura Grill in Japan, La Cantina de San Angel in Mexico, the Patisserie, Regal Eagle Smokehouse, which Hannah, I haven't tried yet, but I will be trying in 2 weeks when we are down there with live coverage of the parks. That's over at the American Adventure Pavilion. And then Sunshine Seasons, say that 3 times fast, over at the Land Pavilion. So some food options are a little bit more limited everywhere, but we see yet another kind of restaurant, not open or temporarily suspend their operations over at World Showcase, which Hannah, World Showcase is my favorite area of a Disney park. I could spend all day there, but one of the big things about World Showcase is the food, and with less food offerings, it just makes it a little bit more hard to kind of get into these countries' pavilions and kind of experience everything that World Showcase has to offer.
Yeah, I think that thankfully the closure, like you said, is temporary. And that quite a few of the restaurants are doing that temporary closure right now. I know that booking a trip to Disney, a lot of people are probably doing more of the Hollywood Studios for Galaxy's Edge or the classic rides over at Magic Kingdom. And if they're spending a day in the parks, I'm sure that they are probably picking those parks over Epcot. So I think why
Yeah.
there might be kind of less visitors, and like you said, with the food options closed, less people going to the World Showcase. So hopefully, the food options can open back up again, and the more people will be traveling around through the showcase. But
Right. So Hannah, when we go in a few weeks, we're staying at the Yacht Club, and I have park passes at Epcot quite frequently because I love getting food and drink over at World Showcase and then walking to the boardwalk area. So we will definitely be bringing live coverage and vlogging of the Epcot experience, the World Showcase experience, and what it's like to stay at Disney's boardwalk area over there at the Yacht and Beach Club. So
what food options do you think you guys will try?
Oh, good question. So we're going to leave a little bit to spur the moment. We do not have table service restaurant reservations right now, but we are going to explore the festival and kind of do some walk-ups and just try some different things, bring some new material. So just no disclosure yet of the restaurants that we're gonna cover. So Hannah, the last story that we have with our show notes today is the latest offering that will be coming to Disney Plus at the end of September. So what do you have to tell us about that?
So, the Magic of Animal Kingdom series is coming on September 25th, and it is narrated by Josh Gad, which I am thrilled about. I think that he's very funny. I mean, I love him as Olaf. Seen him in some other movies. I think that he's going to do a great job with narrating it, keep it light and fun, but still provide us with plenty of information. It's going to be 8 episodes long, and it's looking at the over 5,000 animals that you can find in Animal Kingdom, at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and in the Seas with Nemo and Friends over in Epcot. And so the show is going to look at all of the different species of animals, which there's over 300 species featured. And it's going to be looking kind of at the animals and their experiences, and that the keepers for the animals, and kind of showing the behind the scenes of what goes into caring for all of the wonderful creatures you can find in the animal kingdom. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I was really pleased to see that it's 8 episodes long. For whatever reason, I was just picturing like a 1 episode, 1 hour long episode. So I'm really pleased to see that it's 8 episodes. It's no surprise, I've said it before, Animal Kingdom Park and Animal Kingdom Lodge are some of my favorite places on property. And so for this to come out and show the behind the scenes, Animal Kingdom Lodge is arguably one of, if not the best deluxe resorts right now, just with the access to the animals and just the overall aesthetic and the food options there. I would love to see more behind the scenes of the Animal Kingdom Lodge. And then the park itself has so many great attractions involving animals. One of the best attractions on property is Kilimanjaro Safari. And then to incorporate, the Seas with Nemo and Friends over at Epcot, which is more than just an attraction, but the aquariums and the interaction between animals and the guests. I think this is going to be a really fun series, and I hope a lot of people watch it.
I hope so too. I feel like it's going to give us some,
Hannah, you're cutting out. All right, we'll turn to me real quick since Hannah's cut out. But 8 episodes hosted by Josh Gad about Animal Kingdom Lodge, and the Seas with Nemo and Friends. Hannah, are you back? Oh, no. Okay, all right. That's okay. That was our last news story of the week, and Hannah will be back soon on the podcast. So we will take that opportunity. It is getting stormy out here, so that could be a reason for the bad connection right now. But if you are looking to go on a Walt Disney World, Disneyland cruise, Adventures by Disney, or you want to visit Universal Orlando in 2020, and 2021, please check out www.407vacations.com. Work with one of our vacation planners. Our services are free, and we will help plan your family's perfect vacation. So join us Monday night at 7:30 on Facebook Live. This week's topic, we'll be talking about the top 5 Hollywood Studios attractions. And then the week after that, we're going to be talking with some folks who spent some time in the parks, asking them about their recent park experience. So make sure you join us on Live, a show that's built for you, the listener, where you can join in on the conversation in the chat box, and we'll bring your comments up on the screen and answer any questions that you have. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. We appreciate you liking this video, giving us this thumbs up, helping us bring you more content. So everybody, have a good week. Stay safe. We will see you Monday night at 7:30 on Facebook Live for 407 and Beyond Live. So, and watch us again next Thursday for another episode of 407 and Beyond podcast. So guys, have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon.